Hello, my name is Professor Glenn from Stewart University. I'm here in the Pine Barrens to research the wildlife and the methods that we can use to preserve the ecosystem. Today, you will join me as we explore the wonders that lie within these piney depths. By the end of this video, you will feel the piney power resonate through your veins and become one with the barrens. The Pine Barrens is a temperate coniferous forest stretching across more than 7 counties of southern New Jersey. The name Pine Barrens refers to this area's sandy, acidic, nutrient-poor soil. The unique ecology of the Pine Barrens supports a diverse spectrum of plant life, including orchids and coniferous plants, which our vegan friend Magnolia Sky will explain later. Industries in the Pine Barrens are primarily related to agriculture and tourism. New Jersey produces the third highest number of cranberries in the country, yet the first cultivated blueberries were developed in the Pine Barrens in 1960.
Hello, my name is Magnolia Sky. There are so many different plant species here in the Pine Barrens. The biodiversity is breathtaking and super important because it boosts ecosystem productivity. Each species has an important role to play, no matter how small. Each of the 4 major plant phyla are represented here: Anthophyta, Coniferophyta, Pterophyta, and Lysophyta. In the Anthophyta phylum, there are monocots and dicots. Monocots have embryos with one cotyledon and leaves with parallel veins, while dicots have embryos with 2 cotyledons and leaves with branching veins. A common monocot is grass, and a common dicot is a daisy. Here in the Pine Barrens, we have orchids, which are monocots, and sundew, which is a dicot. The Coniferophyta phylum contains pines, such as the rare pygmy pitch pine. The interesting thing about the pitch pine is that it reproduces with the help of fire, which are frequent here in the Pine Barrens. The pine cones can only open after being heated by fire, which then allows the pines to resprout through the bark. The Pterophyta phylum contains the ferns, such as Schizea pusilla, or the little curly grass fern. It's probably the most famous plant of the Pine Barrens, and was discovered all the way back in 1805. The last major phylum is the Lysophyta phylum, which are the mosses. There are a couple of bogs scattered around the Pine Barrens, environments where mosses thrive. Bogs are wet with low oxygen levels, and species like sphagnum are abundant there.
Hi, my name is the Jersey Devil, and I'm here today to inform you about all of the various cycles that can be seen here in the Pine Barrens. I'll talk about the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, the water cycle, and the trophic structure. The majority of nitrogen in the ecosystem enters through 5 primary processes: nitrogen fixation, nitrogen uptake through means of organismal growth, nitrogen mineralization through decay, nitrification, and denitrification. Nitrogen fixation can be defined as the integration of atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. This process is achieved when nitrogen-fixing bacteria that inhabit the nodules of legume roots convert free nitrogen particles into ammonium ions. Additionally, organisms can help introduce nitrogen to the ecosystem by means of animal and plant development and growth, as well as the opposite, decay and decomposition. Organisms contribute to the nitrogen cycle simply by being part of the circle of life. Now, nitrification and denitrification are 2 processes that are opposite to one another, but have essentially the same effect on the ecosystem. Nitrification is a mechanism in which ammonium salts iodize to nitrites that are found in soil. These nitrites are then able to further oxidize to nitrates. Denitrification is known as the loss or extraction of nitrogen compounds, within the soil and is accomplished when nitrites and nitrates are reduced by bacteria. This process results in the reintroduction of nitrogen into the atmosphere. Moreover, the carbon cycle consists of two reciprocal processes, photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis, the mechanism in which plants use to synthesize foods, is performed when light energy is converted into chemical energy, and carbon is thus transformed into organic compounds. This process removes CO2 from the atmosphere and adds O2. Respiration occurs in two major methods, which include the burning of fossil fuels and cell respiration through animals and bacterial decomposers. And as you can see in the Pine Barrens, we have lots of mushrooms that act as decomposers. Both mechanisms contribute CO2 into the atmosphere. The water cycle is yet another process that is essential to the ecosystem and the life that it harbors. Water evaporates from sources such as lakes and oceans, which form clouds that rain over land. Some rain filters through soil and eventually returns to oceans, while other rain evaporates from the land. However, most rain evaporates from plants through transpiration, which is a process in which plants absorb water from their roots to then give off water vapor through pores in their leaves. Trophic structure can be defined as the way organisms obtain energy for growth and reproduction. It is often referred to as a food web or a food chain. According to the basic principles of thermodynamics,
To find the total monetary value of the Pine Barrens, we chose this chart, which shows the monetary value of the services provided in temperate forests. This chart shows both the minimum and maximum values, so we took an average and got $2,219,315. The New York Times says that each acre is about $1,476. So for 1.1 million acres, that brings it to a total of $1,623,600,000. There are different ways to increase the value of the ecological services in the Pine Barrens. You can use UV light for water treatment instead of a chlorine treatment. $55,000 of chlorine per 1 million gallons of water are used for chlorine, and for UV you use $83 of electricity per 1 million gallons of water. Decreasing the price of water treatment will increase the value of the ecological system. Chlorine can also be harmful in some ways, so decreasing the use of this chemical could be beneficial to many plants and animals as well. Kirkwood-Cohansey Aquifer is the largest source of freshwater in the Pine Barrens, but the amount of freshwater in the ecosystem of the Pine Barrens has slowly been decreasing because of course, humans. Since humans have started using the freshwater for their own needs, freshwater has been decreasing and salt waters from oceans have been increasing. In order to purify more of the increasing salt water, treatment is crucial, and this water treatment should be through UV water treatment, so less money is spent. Another method to increase the value of ecological services is to introduce a bacterial decomposer. Bacterial decomposition is a very slow use of a strain of bacteria that can deal and adapt to the acidity and lack of water in the soil and introduce it to the environment. The bacteria would have to be regulated in order to make sure it won't affect other native species and harm other living things in the area. But the bacteria should be able to replicate itself and help out the environment. This can be done through methods of synthetic biology and environmental engineering. Allowing for natural water treatment can also be very beneficial. Allowing the trees to grow and help purify the water can be more lucrative than cutting them down and using them as a lumber source. Metabolic engineers have moved away from manipulating single genes or proteins and toward introducing multiple genes that can improve photosynthetic efficiency. Biochemical carbon concentrating mechanisms like crucilation acid metabolism, or CAM, improve photosynthetic water use and nutrition use efficiency. This is a way for synthetic biology to engineer more productive crops for a warmer and drier world, as exists in the Pine Barrens. The plants in the Pine Barrens would be using less water while performing photosynthesis, which means the little water that is available is not used up quickly. This in turn would benefit the aquifer, which relies on precipitation that isn't used by plants and water from plant transpiration. If plants can perform photosynthesis with less water, they'll be performing photosynthesis for longer amounts of time. With this comes the stomata remaining open for longer periods of time, which leads to more transpiration because of the natural cohesion of water. Of course, more research is necessary to better understand photosynthetic metabolism before this can become a reality. Hi, I'm the hobo from the Pine Barrens. I would like to talk to you on behalf of my home, the Pine Barrens. So recently, these Pine Barrens have been kind enough to let me make this their home. For the past 3 years, I've been living here with these organisms. Me and them have become one. Their pain is my pain, and their happiness is my happiness. So when you rich people start driving your luxurious Teslas and Hondas across the Pine Barrens, you're releasing CO2 that not only kills my plants, but also releases harmful chemicals that kills the plants and everything else. And stop ruining my home. But I will tell you how to help my home, and for the other hobos that use this as their home. So first off, there are many programs that, such as programs that let you light the pine barrens on fire. So this may seem like a counterproductive idea, but actually it helps regulate the species and make sure that some species do not go extinct. For example, the oak trees, which will be able to dominate over the pine trees in the pine barrens, which is really beneficial and helpful. So I just remembered, it's called the New Jersey Forest Fire Services. It's all the CO2 from your cars! Don't destroy my home! Go!
Hi! Oh wait, that was
On behalf of me and the other hobos that live here with me, I'd like for you to take your time and all that money you make that you don't need and donate it to the Pine Barrens to help me live a happy life with all my organisms.
You have nice hair. And go vegan.
Go. 2,
Go vegan.
2, 3.
Buy electric cars! Yes!